Excellent. Well, I will now introduce the second panel of witnesses. Our first witness, Dr. Tim Persons, served as the GAO's chief scientist and as the co-director of the Science, Technology Assessment, and Analytics team until his departure in 2023. Dr. Persons provides knowledge and expertise of how STAA was created, its successes, and how GAO could be enhanced moving forward. Dr. Persons is a partner with PricewaterhouseCoopers, where he leads the development of innovative assurance solutions for clients in artificial intelligence and machine learning, data, algorithms, and other digital transformations. Welcome. Next, we welcome Mr. James Christian Blackwood, who formerly served as the Managing Director of the Strategic Planning and External Liaison Office at GAO. During his tenure, Mr. Blackwood was responsible for creating GAO's strategic plan and helped GAO identify future trends that might be of interest to Congress. Currently, Mr. Blackwood serves as the Executive Vice President of the Partnership for Public Service. And finally, we welcome Mr. Dan Lips, who currently serves as Head of Policy for the Foundation for American Innovation, an organization focused on developing technology, talent, and ideas that support a better, freer, and more abundant future. Mr. Lips' research focuses on improving governance, addressing national security risks, and promoting innovation. Thank you to our second panel of witnesses for being with us today. Please remember to press the button on the microphone in front of you so that the green light is on. When you speak, the timer will begin. After 4 minutes, this timer will turn yellow. When the red light comes on, your 5 minutes have expired, and we would ask you to kindly wrap up. And now, at this time, I recognize Dr. Tim Persons for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairwoman Bice, Ranking Member Kilmer, and members of the committee. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today about the modernization of GAO and the legislative support agencies, as well as the importance of building science and technology capacity and capabilities for the Congress. The GAO has been a vital institution, as you know, for over a century, strengthening congressional oversight, ensuring efficiency and accountability in government operations. Its commitment to accountability, integrity, and reliability have made it one of the most trusted public sector brands in the world. My remarks this morning are strictly my own and based upon my 14.5 years as GAO's chief scientist, the highest regard I have for both GAO and the Congress, and my 3 decades of experience in AI, digital technologies, and innovation. We are currently witnessing an unprecedented acceleration in the impacts of S&T. In just the past 36 months, we've experienced some of the fastest and most powerful technology revolutions in human history. Messenger RNA, fusion ignition, and generative AI are just some examples. ChatGPT itself, which has come up earlier in the discussions, is reshaping business, society, the government, and doing it at an unprecedented rate. It reached 100 million users in a mere 60 days. These are just a few examples of illustrating the need for the shift in the clock speed of GAO and the legislative support agencies, the concept referring to the rate at which change may occur within an industry or organization to avoid obsolescence. GAO's recent track record in innovation is encouraging, reestablishing technology assessment, creating 2-page S&T spotlights delivered in weeks, establishing the STAA and the Innovation Lab within it. There's much to commend as part of its mission to be a leading practices federal agency. Nevertheless, to quote the Inside GAO joke about the standard pattern of every one of its reports, is progress made, but more could be done. In this era of digital disruption, it's imperative that GAO and our legislative support agencies modernize processes, technologies, skills, and cultures, not merely to keep pace with the rapidly evolving landscape, but rather to transform with nimbleness and agility to deliver their increasingly important professional services in an anticipatory, content-centric, user experience-focused manner. The centrality of digital and data to GAO's mission and others cannot be overstated. To ensure their success, it's crucial that they develop and deploy state-of-the-art data governance and digitally driven capability transformations with decisive alacrity. Evolutionary or half-step measures, though seemingly safer, are not and will not be enough to keep the major risks of irrelevance and obsolescence at bay. They must transform in accordance with their distinct missions, yet with a serious reexamination of their content generation operations and delivery systems, their current authorities, their investment plans, human resourcing, and training strategies. Moreover, the ever-increasing volume and complexity of data will likely require regular updates to data policies and statutes and the establishment of key partnerships with entities like the Congressional Data Task Force. They must also be provided with the necessary leadership and innovation oxygen to succeed in their campaigns, all to provide content and analysis at depth and at speed in support of the desired evidence-based policymaking, or EBP, ecosystem for the Congress. Imagine, for example, a digital dashboard tool where large language model technology might support just-in-time content and insight for EBP based on data and content provided in part by the GAO and other agencies. Just today, an article is being published in Nature describing how GPTs may be used to produce high-quality first drafts of policy briefs like spotlights, ones that can be customized for particular jurisdictions or members, and delivered in minutes and hours versus days and weeks. It's related exactly to what Mr. Kilmer asked earlier. But digital technology-driven modernization, transformation, and increased S&T capacity aren't possible without the necessary staff to envision, design, implement, and manage the desired changes. Thus, in addition to authorizing the STAA in recognition of the expanding services it provides, I endorse the implementation of Option 3 of the 2019 NAPA report, which recommends the establishment of the Office of the Congressional S&T Advisor. This development would provide a powerful framework for collaboration and coordination in the legislative branch in support of S&T issues and solving what is the core challenge, namely the need for greater absorption in that. To conclude, many thanks are due to this committee for its continued efforts to modernize GAO and the legislative branch. Now is the time for decisive business transformation in digital, including data governance, in support of EBP. Authorizing STAA and establishing the OXTA can ensure that Congress is supported by best available, rapidly and organically integrated S&T personnel and insights. Thank you. I'll be happy to answer questions.
Saw me
you may
grab
have.
that gavel, didn't
Yes.
you? Thank you, Dr. Persons. Appreciate it. And next, it's my honor or delight to welcome Mr. James Christian Blackwin for 5 minutes of testimony. You are recognized.
Chairwoman Bice, Ranking Member Kilmer, and members of the subcommittee, thank you for the invitation to participate in today's hearing. As the chairwoman mentioned, I'm the executive vice president of the Partnership for Public Service, a nonpartisan nonprofit dedicated to increasing the efficiency and effectiveness of the federal government. I'll also offer perspective during my time when I was at GAO as a senior executive. There is a declining trust in government and institutions more broadly, and our nation is sharply divided along partisan lines, unfortunately. GAO is one of Congress's greatest tools for fostering an agile, effective, trusted, and transparent government, ready to face future challenges. I applaud the ongoing efforts of this subcommittee to ensure our legislative branch agencies are prepared and equipped to respond. As I discuss in more detail in my written statement, there are several areas of consideration as this subcommittee seeks to support GAO in its efforts to provide more modern solutions and services. First and foremost, GAO must continue to uphold a nonpartisan approach to its work and organizational culture. GAO serves all members of Congress and must always be a stronghold for credible analysis and findings, protect its independence, and avoid even the appearance of impropriety or favor. This function cannot succeed without a full commitment to nonpartisanship. Looking forward, Congress and the administration should prioritize an unwavering commitment to nonpartisanship in the candidate for Comptroller General when they next appoint and confirm this position. Second, the subcommittee should explore investing in and expanding the authorities and capabilities of GAO. Given growing government spending, complexity of management challenges, high risk of fraud, and recent passage of multi-billion-dollar legislation, Congress should, 1, increase the size and capacity of GAO's forensic audits and investigative service, and help agencies adopt a fraud prevention culture. Secondly, consider an appropriation for GAO's Center for Audit Excellence to provide greater accountability for federal funds dispersed across the country as well as abroad. And third, strengthen GAO's ability to ensure follow-up of open recommendations by authority and through a dynamic, interactive dashboard or other platform. A third area of investment in GAO's capacity to address emerging issues is strategic foresight. Strategic foresight helps improve understanding of an organization's external environment, mitigate risk, and take advantage of opportunities ahead. GAO has already created several offices and functions to engage in this work. However, more investment may be required to advance its trend monitoring, strategic foresight, and science and technology capacity, particularly as it relates to better understanding generative AI, highlighting policy implications of AI to lawmakers, and auditing the federal use of AI. Fourth, GAO should invest in customer experience. A key tenet of a modernized organization is understanding its customers and how they experience services. Customer service is the direct and immediate interaction between a customer and the service provider. Customer experience reflects the holistic journey of the customer within the organization and focuses on fostering engagement. As such, GAO should look to best practices in customer experience to build on its voice of the client work and more explicitly expand its view of its customer to include the American public. It should ensure greater investment in IT and digital technologies to help make reports more accessible, as well as innovative, visual, and digestible. Explore and actually go beyond that and commit to its on-site presence within congressional office buildings to provide Congress with greater access to needed expertise. Fifth, Congress should consider the development of coordinated, consolidated, and curated information. GAO and other legislative branch agencies serve as the in-house experts on virtually every topic. Congress may need to consider on all those topics. However, this information is not curated and can overlap and often contains gaps. Congress should explore formally merging some of these capabilities or whether GAO is positioned to serve as a clearinghouse and coordinator for reports and information from across the legislative branch. Finally, GAO must have access to the full range of data necessary to do its work. Agencies may not always provide GAO with complete access to data. Congress must ensure readily and open access for GAO through additional authorities or guidance to agencies. With enhanced access to data, GAO can explore real-time audit capability and gain insight from an agency perspective. The future calls for greater transparency, accountability, and modernization across government. GAO is a leading practices agency with a proven return on investment. Focusing on investments and modernizing the work that GAO already does well will help it continue to serve Congress, agencies, and the American people. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today, and I look forward to continuing the conversation on government effectiveness and modernization.
Thank you very much, Mr. Blackwood. And I'd love to put you in charge of some agencies that need help. Anyway, this time it is my honor to recognize Mr. Dan Lips for 5 minutes of his testimony. Mr. Lips.
Chairwoman Bice, Ranking Member Kilmer, members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to testify. As the chairwoman mentioned, my name is Dan Lips. I'm the head of policy at the Foundation for American Innovation. I previously served on the staff of the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee. My testimony will focus on opportunities to increase GAO's return on investment, improve government efficiency, and achieve taxpayer savings. Over the past 20 years, as we've heard today, GAO's work has resulted in $1.3 trillion in savings. With less than $12 billion in appropriations during that time, that means that every dollar that Congress has provided to GAO has resulted in more than $100 in savings. This is a really impressive track record. But given the $33 trillion national debt and the challenging fiscal outlook, Congress and the subcommittee should be considering ways to increase GAO's ROI. Last year, GAO reported that 77% of its recommendations were implemented within 4 years, or slightly below its target of 80%. Today, GAO reports that there are 5,000 open recommendations, and about a quarter of these recommendations were made more than 4 years ago. This is important because, according to GAO, recommendations not made within 4 years are less likely to be implemented. Congress and the subcommittee, I think, need to ask 2 questions. First, how can Congress help the hardworking people at GAO increase their ROI by making sure their nonpartisan reform recommendations are addressed in a timely manner? And second, what could the government save if all of GAO's recommendations, open recommendations, were implemented? Thanks to the Modernization Committee, Congress enacted a law in December raising these issues. The Improving Government for America's Taxpayers Act, sponsored by Representative Kilmer and Representative Timmons, requires GAO to streamline its open recommendations for Congress, describe additional oversight and legislative actions that are needed, and importantly, estimate potential cost savings of unimplemented priority recommendations. In addition, report language accompanying the FY 2023 omnibus required GAO to estimate the potential savings that could be achieved if all open GAO recommendations were implemented. This year, GAO answered these new congressional mandates with 2 reports. The first explained that, based on a statistical analysis, implementing the 5,000 open recommendations would save between $92 and $182 billion. But in this report, GAO also cited a single open recommendation that could save $141 billion. The Comptroller General discussed this in his questioning. Including this in this report, asking for a summary of what could be saved across the board, suggests that the potential savings from answering all open recommendations will be much greater than the upper bound estimate of $182 billion. The second report, answering the Kilmer-Timmons bill, consolidated open matters for congressional consideration and provided some limited examples of potential cost savings that could be achieved. Now, these are valuable reports, but GAO did not detail all of the open recommendations that could achieve cost savings or offer new recommendations for legislative and oversight actions. Building on the Modernization Committee's enacted recommendations in the 117th, Congress should consider new ways to increase GAO's ROI. In my written testimony, I offered 6 recommendations, but I'll highlight 3 for the subcommittee here. First, Congress should require GAO to fully answer the Improving Government for America's Taxpayers Act. While GAO will likely be unable to provide estimates for each open recommendation, specifically identifying all open recommendations that could achieve cost savings and providing more options for Congress to implement them would be a win for American taxpayers. Second, Congress should require GAO to include target completion dates or deadlines when issuing new recommendations. Deloitte analysts actually recommended this change back in a 2015 report. Setting deadlines would improve transparency, strengthen accountability, and help GAO increase its 4-year implementation rate and ROI. Third, Congress should better leverage GAO's ongoing oversight of federal misspending. Federal agencies made $247 billion in improper payments last year, including roughly $200 billion in overpayments. Recent Appropriations Committee report language required GAO to report quarterly on improper payments. Congress should hold hearings and work with GAO to force federal agencies to end the federal government's misspending. To close, I urge Congress and the Modernization Subcommittee to reauthorize GAO, consistent with the Select Committee's recommendations to reauthorize congressional support agencies. Reauthorizing GAO would allow Congress and its watchdog to work together to give GAO the necessary authorities it needs, ensure that GAO's work aligns with congressional priorities, and improve government efficiency for American taxpayers. Thank you again for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you, Mr. Lips.